So one of the most influential unions in Nevada has claimed that Bernie Sanders supporters, quote, viciously attacked the Culinary Union. The alleged comments came after the organization publicly warned against backing a candidate who supports Medicare for all.
Joining us now to break down his thoughts on this and the 2020 race in general is Sam Seder. He's host of the Majority Report, friend of our show, and joins us now via Skype. Great to see you, Sam.
Good to see you, Sam.
Nice to see you guys.
Absolutely.
So I actually want to, not that any of us really want to relive 2016, but there is history here with this union that I think is important. Could you lay out a little bit of what happened with the Sanders campaign and this culinary workers union back then?
Back in 2016, I mean, I think, look, Harry Reid has a lot of control of what goes on in Vegas. And I think when the campaign, both campaigns actually hit 2016 in Nevada, it was hugely important for Hillary Clinton. And so, you have a situation where leadership tends to follow maybe Harry Reid's, and I don't know what kind of influence he has these days in Nevada, but at that time would follow Harry Reid's lead, and locals tend to follow the candidate that has more traditionally been supportive of labor. And so, I mean, I'm not convinced that we're not going to see a similar dynamic here this year, too.
That's interesting, Sam. I think one of the curious things about it has been that they're trying to buy into the media Bernie bro narrative, and that some candidates have actually latched onto this, including Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren, saying that the Culinary Union shouldn't be attacked. I mean, it's a bit of a cynical ploy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's politics, and so there's going to be some of that. I mean, I think, look, there's an attempt to leverage that. I don't know how well that works with voters on the ground. I think a lot of those type of ploys these days, they play out on Twitter, and I think that has an impact on journalists, and that may structure the narrative that way. Mm-hmm. But on the ground, I'm not so convinced that it has the same resonance. But yeah, it's an attempt, and they're online. It can get a little bit nasty, and so some of that may be founded in some measure of reality, but I don't think that there's a huge number of people who are making their votes based upon a mean tweet or not.
I think that's right.
Well, it's also like, this always happens. You have like Chris Matthews saying that he's worried if Bernie gets elected president, then he's going to get executed in Central Park. You have, Chuck Todd comparing Sanders supporters to brown shirts, which is like, could not be more offensive. He actually got reprimanded by the ADL for making those comments. Right. And then they're surprised when they get backlash from his supporters, when they tweet mean things at him or send out memes or whatever, or tweet emojis at them, God forbid. So it's this very disingenuous circle. I do want to put up, though, we have the Culinary Union's statement that we can put up so people can see it. So this is after they had put out a flyer saying, again, I think very disingenuously, that Medicare for All would mean taking away their members' health care. And then they are here in this statement complaining about getting attacked for that. They say it's disappointing that Senator Sanders supporters have viciously attacked the Culinary Union and working families in Nevada simply because we provided facts and proposals that might take away what we've built over 8 decades. I mean, Sam, I also just think it's weird to attack voters. I mean, some of these supporters of Sanders who I'm sure were unhappy about this flyer may well have even been in their own union.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, from the leadership of the Culinary Institute's perspective, they, because of their status, under Taft-Hartley, I mean, it gets a little bit complicated, but there's some real dollars, I think, that the leadership is foregoing. But in terms of its membership, down the road, the ability to have Medicare for all gives them a lot more bargaining power, long term. And so there's a little bit of conflict of interest there, I think, at the top of some unions' leadership. And yeah, I think, look, this is politics. It's to be expected. I mean, I do think that, when you start to talk about getting shot in Central Park, you may have gone a little bit off the deep end, frankly. But this other stuff is...
You were on MSNBC right after that, weren't you?
I was in the room when
What was that like? What were you thinking?
well, I mean, everybody was sort of looking around, like not quite sure if he was being serious or not. And I have to say, I mean, my own personal perspective on this, like on some level, it gave me a different perspective on Chris Matthews, because I think a lot of times you hear those type of things and you think this is just someone who is in the establishment and they're trying to be they're trying to hyperventilate and they're trying to be hyperbolic. And he seemed to have a genuine concern that he would have that he'd be on some type of like hit list, and that I was a little bit concerned about like his health
Right.
in that moment. I mean, I got to be honest with you, like that's an absurd. I mean, I think it was like a genuine perspective, and it's also, frankly, sort of a crazy one. Bernie Sanders talks about Denmark. And I think there was a genuine belief that Chris Matthews has that there was something sort of more nefarious going on there. And I think that's really bizarre. I mean, full on bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing, Sam. All right. Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much for joining
Sam.
us.
Great
Really
to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Next on Rising, we're going to dive more into the developing media narratives of the 2020 election. That's next.